Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about Collectopia, which was in Canada. It was hosted this past week by Collector, Tag, Collectopia, TCG Hall of Fame. There was so many people there, and they were all working together. It was a really cool thing to see. My family and I, we went down a few days early, and we got to explore some of Canada. I think the first person that I saw that I'd already known would have been, well, might have been Jesse, but it was actually Cam. He come down and he hung out with us at the pool. We talked for a little bit. He was there for golden auctions, so it's cool to get to talk with him for a few minutes. I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with him during the show, but it was really fun. So let me show you some of the things that got there. Like, this is one of the coolest things. So I was being honored as one of the inductees. Thanks so much to Collectopia for that. But this is really cool. This is one of the things they did for all of the inductees. They made an uncut sheet. I assume this is all like through Tag, like the card itself, some kind of collab there. But you got Collectopia. Not even seeing Tag on here, so maybe not. It was at the Tag booth. They had like made some individual cards, but you guys know I love uncut sheets. So this was like a really cool touch that I appreciated. I took my uncut sheets there. That in itself was pretty hectic because I had to check the bag because it was 28 inches long, the pipe, the tube, and they went into the duffel bag. They actually cut the locks instead of using the key because it was TSA approved locks. They didn't care. They just cut into them. They opened the bag up, and then they did check inside the tube. But thankfully, everything was relatively okay, other than the bags. Like, all of our checked bags just got wrecked. It's kind of crazy. This was kind of cool. They gave one of these. Yeah, there we go. Rusty TCA Gaming Hall of Fame 2026, presented by Collector. I've really been using that app a lot. Got to oh, they did chip it, and I didn't notice that when it was checked. I'm just now seeing it, but there's a chip in it. I assume that's when because they went pretty hard into that bag. Man, that sucks. But I tried keeping, like, this was wrapped up inside of something else. The frame I actually didn't check. I took that with me on the plane because I figured that would be something I could keep on my person. But then the other piece might not be. It might actually hurt the frame if I kept them together. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. I got to meet Adam from Collector. He was a super nice guy. He actually bought our dinner one night, even though his dinner he got basically served a cow that had just been cut open, and it was just the meat itself. I mean, it was just cold. But they gave us all these little badges right here. So when I was at the event itself, it's kind of like a Collecticon, a vending show or something like that. You've got vendor tables, but then there's another section for the museum, and then you have another section where you might have panels going on or something like that. So not as much going on as like a card party, but you still got the vending side of it, and then there's a lot of focus on like the collectible side of it. And it was really nice for me, especially having this. We were able to just kind of walk through and get in and out. There was a section where we could take breaks between panels or whatever. But there was like a meet and greet section as well. And my kids and my wife and my mother-in-law, they all got the inductee team, so they were able to get in and out as well. So it made it really, really easy with the kids from that respect. Jim Mint, got to see him there with this. He actually made some, I guess I could zoom in now. Nothing else is going to be as big as that uncut sheet. He made those, or he had somebody on his team make them. Where's Jim Mint's at? His were pretty cool. Not as cool as ones as he had made for mine. Oh man, I thought for sure I put some in here for Jim Mint. His are pretty cool too. But as you can imagine, his has a Jolteon on it. Somebody I got to meet for the first time at this event. Cool Trainer Ryan. He gave me one of the old style signed cards. I still have a few of those set back. But the kids got him to sign all kinds of cards. We went to his meet and greet. But we hung out. We talked several times. And, yeah, he was super respectful. I attended his surprise-ish birthday party. I almost ruined it several times. His girlfriend, Jen, she had invited my family, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it, but we did. And we thought our kids might come at first, but I'm glad that they didn't. It took like an hour and a half to get the food, and then even when it come out, my food was really good. I got trout over steak because I'm not really like a prime rib kind of guy. If they had ribeye or sirloin or filet, I mean I love those, but uh, I'm not the prime rib where I get to see all the pink and blood. I like having like a seared outside, have a nice little crust, and then having a little bit of texture on the inside. But I think most of the prime ribs there were good, but except for Cool Trainer Ryan's, and then Adam with Collector. So theirs was they were mooing, that's for sure. But the trout was really good. It was a restaurant right in there, but we sat there and we talked for a while, talked about all kinds of just memory stuff. If you get into a conversation with people who are really passionate about Pokemon, and you are too, you're probably going to be talking about Pokemon. It's going to dominate the conversations, and it did. But hopefully I'll get to see more of him in the future. But thanks for the cards that you signed there, man. It was really good finally seeing you in person. Very he cusses a lot on his channel. That's his channel. He does his thing, but he was being respectful of me, even though the party was for him. I don't think he knew it was for him, but everybody was there kind of eating together. And even when I went to his meet and greets, I don't think I heard him cuss one time around anybody. So I'm sure he did, but he didn't around me, that's for sure. So I appreciated that. I don't expect that always, in my own house. Yeah, I do. But anyways, it was really good meeting you, dude. Hopefully we'll get to see more of each other. In regards to the Hall of Fame itself, I'll show you guys the cards that I had put in there. I did tell you that I had the 2 uncut sheets, which thankfully they found some frames that fit, and it worked out really nice. So I was super worried about getting those back through customs, and they checked it on the way back again. But getting it there, getting it back, it seemed to work out. I saw a dude carry this giant guitar onto the plane, and he stuck it up at the front. I'm like, how do you do that? And she's like, well, that's just Canada. And I'm like, well, can we do that? With my stuff is a whole lot smaller. So at the museum, we had this. So they allowed, I don't know if everybody kept them, but I asked. I was like, hey, could I keep these little plaques? And so they had made these plaques to go in with the custom cases that they had built to hold the cards that were locked. And there was always police officers and people in there kind of guarding the stuff. And then this was the other one with the first edition thick and thin stamp uncut sheets. So, and as far as I know, nobody had anything stole. Everything went off without a hitch. So that was great. For the cards, I had a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh in there. This one was in its own case. We had this Charizard first edition Gem Mint 10. And if you look on the side, I think Anna pointed it out. It said something cool. Let's see if I can get to pick up. Collectopia TCG Hall of Fame Slab Mags. Let's see if, I don't know if it says anything on the other side or not. But they took, I had little sleeves over these, but they took them out of that, and then they stuck the cards in these. So this is kind of cool. And I just left them in it. I assume they didn't want them back, but or if they did, I guess I could I could send them a little bit of money for these. But I think that's really cool, especially because it kind of takes them to that time, to that point. Collectopia. So I guess anytime anybody sees these going forward, maybe it'll help out on the advertising side for them as well. But let me show you what all that I sent in there. I do like these a little bit more than the graded guards, just because I don't like with the graded guards. I always feel like I need to take them out at some time or put some kind of sleeve over it. This encompasses the entire case all the way around. The fact that it shakes around, maybe not as cool, but you don't want to have it like super tight. But I feel like I can get in here if I need to. Let's see. I guess I just do that. But yeah, and it just pops right open. So that's really nice. And then it locks. But we've got an Umbreon. There's the pre-release Raichu 5.5. Got the Typhlosion T17. There's a Red Eyes Black Dragon. Shining Raichu. Shining Celebi. There's the Blue Eyes White Dragon. There's the Dark Magician. I did just move my second Dark Magician. Actually, while we were there. I'll talk about that deal because I'm going to show you guys a few things that I bought as well. All right, there's Shining Steelix, Shining Mewtwo, Shining Noctowl. The big boys, Shining Charizard, Tyranitar, Shining Gyarados, Shining Magikarp, Monster Reborn. Heard about a pretty epic sale for that one. And then we have the Shining Kabutops. So I had all the Shinings. I had 5 of the 10 Ultra Rares for LOB, pre-release Raichu, first edition Charizard, that kind of stuff. So that was what I had on display myself in the museum. I know I talked about how they were going to do a Guinness World Book of Record kind of thing there, but they ended up having to not do that because of the increased cost that they were wanting to have. They decided to put that towards security. And so if they have to make that choice, I definitely appreciate going with the security rather than, the extra advertising. And, just I would love to be a part of a Guinness World Book of Records, but if it costs as much as they told me, then they can keep it. I always thought that was just something about the actual record, not about the money, but I guess it makes sense. All right, I did buy 2 cards while I was there. Oh, before I forget, screwed the wrong way. Can I go this way? So right there. That actually says Vintage WotC Collector. So I've got a little bit of story about that. This guy's name is Lance. So when I first met him, so this is my hand. Last time I showed you guys, I had burns here. You can kind of see where the skin's still slowly coming off here. It's a little bit thicker, so it didn't bubble up, but it's still coming off. But here, I had a large, skin bubble, I guess you could say. It was filled with pus, and it really wasn't like that until the day that I arrived. Before that, it kind of stayed. It was hard and leathery, but it hadn't bubbled up yet. So I took off my wrap the second day that I was there on Thursday, and by the time I got through to Friday, when I met Lance, that thing had bubbled up, and I had just got through telling it was somebody I was with, might have been Radar, and I was like, dude, I think I've got to go get this thing popped before somebody shakes me with a firm grip and the thing pops in their hand. And literally, as soon as I got to the end of that hall, because we were walking down the hall having that conversation, I shake this dude's hand, and he's a big guy. Don't get me wrong. He's like, say if I'm 6'1", he's probably like 6'4", maybe a little taller. And he's got some broad shoulders, pretty big guy. He just shakes my hand, and sure enough, the whole thing, it just pops right into his hand. It was so gross. I mean, thankfully it was like clear liquid, but it didn't even phase the dude. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, sorry for what? And I'm like, and I showed my hand to him. I was like, this just happened in your hand, and it come from me, and I'm so sorry about it. And he looked at it. I mean, his whole hand, it was just glazed over. I mean, I know some people that would like absolutely gross out. For me, it probably wouldn't matter that much, but the fact that I did it to somebody, that was very, I guess you could say, embarrassing, but I mean, it is what it is. The dude didn't care. He didn't miss a beat. And I can't say enough about this guy, Lance, because he helped out my family throughout the entire time. And anytime I needed something, I would text him or call him. Sometimes he'd call me as a reminder. He'd come get me. And even at the very end, that case right there. So I was packing up these cards, after the museum was closing up for the last day, and we couldn't find the box that I had just brought, like a cardboard box that I was putting all this stuff in, but I couldn't find it. And so he was like running around trying to get bubble wrap, find different boxes, and he was like, you know what, here you go. He gives me this case that he had brought himself, and he's like, you take it, you keep it. I tried paying the dude like a dozen times, and every time he completely turned me down. He's like, you take it, you keep it, thank you so much. And I don't know, I feel like I needed to do something special for this guy. I don't think he expects it in any way. So if you've gotten this far in the video and you're hearing about Lance and what he did for me and how kind he was to me, maybe give me some ideas. His IG handle is Vintage WotC Collector. I'm sure you guys can really see that because it's nice and big. Sorry, I just printed it out right before here so I could look at it and make sure I remembered it correctly. But it's Vintage_WotC_Collector. Give me some ideas. What can I do for Lance? I don't have his address. I'm sure I can find it. But he was so helpful throughout the entire time, very graceful, very forgiving, and also very generous. So thank you so much for that. But there were a lot of people there that I met this weekend. Got to talk to a lot of people. I hung out with Radar for a little while. Jimin, I didn't get to hang out with as much as I wanted to. Me and him were like real close. We did the panels and the meet and greets. Got to talk to Gary, of course. We sat beside each other and had some conversations. And there were so many other people. I got to meet people for the first time. I feel like I ran into so many vendors who were so kind to me and my family. I only ran into 2 people I couldn't make a deal with, and it's because they were wanting above market. I was like, I'll pay you the full market value that it shows online. So, like, I wasn't trying to take off 10% for the fees that they would be accrued or anything, but they were like, no, I need $10 more, or one excuse I was given was they said, I got to pay for my table. I mean, I get that, but I don't want to pay over market. I mean, I got to pay for my flight too, right? So I don't know if they were doing that to everybody or maybe they were just doing it to me. But for the most part, everybody was so like, they were just really reasonable with their prices. A lot of times I ran into trouble because I didn't have Canadian dollars. And a lot of people made fun of how weak the Canadian dollar was, but it's really not that weak. It was like I would take the number if it was, if I found a price in USD, I would divide it by 0.73, so 7300ths, and that would give the price in Canadian dollars. But it worked out. My son actually bought some cards off of a table. Man, I wish I could remember it now. Can't believe I forget it. We bought a lot of stuff off of them. I think I'm going to have him find some cards for me. It might have been Blake Stoys. I think it was Blake Stoys because he had a lot of vintage stuff there. But it was very reasonable with his prices. But my son bought 2 Elite Trainer boxes, and one of them I was like, don't buy the second one. Just buy regular packs. You don't need to buy the Elite Trainer box. You can get more packs, as loose packs. But he was like, no, I want 2 Phantasmal Flames Elite Trainer boxes. And last pack, he gets the gold Charizard. So that was a really cool memory. I ended up buying that off of my son. Let me show you the 2 cards they're over here, that I actually bought for myself. Here's one of them. The Mega Gengar. I got this from, I think I got this from Game Castle. Matt Czar. If I did not, I bought a bunch of stuff off of this guy. I think I bought a lot more, but everything else was for the family. They're building out their binders. But this was in pretty good shape. He said he was going to send it in. I think that the only thing that might hold it back is the centering, but the condition on it was really nice. Super good looking card. I haven't decided if I'm going to send it in or not. I really like the Mega Gengar. I think we had priced it out about 1,000 USD or 1,300 in Canadian, but I haggled down a little bit because I was like, the reprint's coming. I think the prices are coming down on this. It's probably going to drop by the time I even get home. So I ended up paying, I think it was 1,200 Canadian, which is just over 900 USD. It's like 915 or something like that. I also picked this one up for myself. My wife typically collects the cameos or cute Pokemon, but I saw this Lugia and I was like, this is let me make sure I don't need to pause this video. Sorry, I got somebody coming in to look at one of our 4-wheelers that doesn't work. But I was like, man, this is really strong for a 6. So I went ahead and picked this one up. Thought I could, I got it for a pretty decent price right at market. Just have to convert the stuff. And then the 2 other things that I picked up while I wasn't at Collectopia. Well, I mean, one of them, I did pick these up at Collectopia while I was physically there, but they didn't come from it. We have this. I traded the Dark Magician for a Shadowless PSA 9 Charizard, new cert, very, very clean, super clean card. And the dude also paid $2,000 on top of that. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. And then the last thing that I picked up was an unlimited jungle box. Now this comes through a WotC employee. You can see right here that says this material is not for resale. Thank you. A lot of times people don't want stickers on their boxes, but for me, this is actually one sticker that I like to have on the booster box or on the product, simply because these usually come on boxes that come directly from Pokemon. They were given out as gifts, and that's why they say they're not for the resale. They're always this type of font that I've seen in the past. Now this box wasn't in beautiful condition, but it's in pretty nice. It does have a little bit of weird wrap thing going on right there, but I know where it's coming from, so I feel that the provenance is very strong. And I think I picked it up for $11,000, which was right at the last price that I could find for a public sale. Whether or not that's went up or not, I'm not too sure on that. But anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. It's just kind of going over Collectopia. I didn't cover a lot that went on there. There are many videos that they have up. If you go to the TCG Hall of Fame, they've put out a lot of social media doing the videos, covering a lot of the events, the panels, different things that went on. Same thing with Collectopia. They've got several pages that you can look at. Thanks again so much for those who hosted it. Jesse, you're the main guy I was talking with. It was super fun. I felt very appreciated at this event. I can still think of so many names that I could see being in the Hall of Fame. You know, the fact that you selected me for the first one, I'm very honored. Thank you again for that. You can tell it was put on by collectors. And, you know, some people might say, well, who are they to determine who it is? Like, who would you want better than other collectors to determine, this kind of, lineup? And they're going to do it in further years, and they're going to allow the Hall of Famers to be a part of the process. So we're going to be a part of the process, picking other people. I loved meeting Avery the Poke Kid. That was fun. Man, his dad said something to me as I was walking by, and I can't remember what I did. I think we just started talking about something, but he was literally hooked into medicine, to his dad. So I mean, the kid was taking medicine while he was out there talking with people, doing what a lot of influencers do. They give up their time and their strength, and it's literally the case with this kid who has cancer. Has been battling it for 7 years. It's terminal, and he's taking medicine in from a bag that his dad has into his body, and he's still out there talking with people. So very inspiring. So if you guys don't know who that is, go check him out. I know he has an Instagram page, but I wasn't too very familiar with it before that. I think I'd seen him on other influencers' pages here and there, but I didn't realize, he'd been battling it so long. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I could sit here and rant for a very long time about Collectopia. I'm sure if you continue to watch my videos in the future, I will give you little tidbits of information here and there that you can find out about, what happened. But as always, thank you, and I hope you guys have a great week.